Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, I'm here to tell you to stop grading your Pokemon cards. Although, let's be clear, right? If it was that blunt, it would be a tweet. Let me explain what I actually mean before we go into these super angry comments. Feel free to leave angry comments if you feel appropriate, but at least listen to my argument before we go there. Now, for those of you that are unaware, grading Pokemon cards basically means you send them off to a company, PSA being the biggest and the most prestigious. This is generally the one most people tend to use. Others are coming around. We'll get there in a moment. And then they get encased in a piece of plastic, and the condition is appraised, and you're given a number, and essentially the value of them goes up a lot of the time fairly dramatically. So if you want to go and buy a Lugia Neo Genesis, that is going to be a lot cheaper than buying a PSA 10 Lugia Neo Genesis. It is a way to protect your cards if you are a collector. They're easier to display, but also it adds value so you can go ahead and sell them. Okay. The thing is, at the moment, there has never been a worse time, and I mean this sincerely, there has never been a worse time to get your Pokemon cards graded. The wait times are significantly longer than they used to be, the prices are higher than they used to be, and the market is going to be flooded with new graded cards, so the value of what you're actually going to be selling is going to be lower. Now, again, we'll get to the nuance in a minute, but if we add those three things up, longer wait, higher prices to pay to get it graded, lower sales value, that should add up to make you go, maybe we'll save it. I mean, me personally, I have, over the past kind of year, been making a little collection of cards to go and be graded. Things like a Staff Espeon Nationals promo. It's a pretty good card. It's in pretty good condition. So, yeah, let's go send that one off. Things like, obviously I've got a decent condition base set Charizard. Come on, that'd be weird if I didn't at this stage. You know what I do. So I've got one of them lying around, and I've got a bunch of really good cards. And at some point, I am going to go ahead and start sending them off and getting them graded. I somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how, I do not remember collecting these cards, but I have a complete set of the Call of Legends shiny Pokemon, which are pretty rare and can fetch like $1,000 each if they get a PSA 10, etc. And at some point in the future, all these cards are going off to be graded. But I have gone and made the decision that I am going to sit and hold, and hopefully this video is going to explain why. Now, obviously, if you're willing to wait a bit longer, get them graded. Because I suppose waiting to get them graded isn't really any different from waiting to send them off. And of course, if you're willing to pay the extra prices, go for it. And if you're somebody who always sends cards off regularly to get graded, maybe you still want to. Maybe you do want to get them graded to invest, but take something like the Rainbow Rare Pikachu VMAX and Vivid Voltage. How many of them do you think have been sent to be graded? How many of them do you think are currently in the works to be graded, in the queue, so to speak, over at PSA? Now, that does not mean that Pikachu Rainbow Rare from Vivid Voltage will have no value, not at all. If you get a PSA 10 of this, it's still Pikachu, it's still a Rainbow Rare, it's still a PSA 10. There will be some value in it. It's not going to be a valueless card. But if you compare the price of this at a PSA 10 when the market is being flooded with them, compared to equivalent cards a year or two when there were far fewer graded cards hitting the market, you are going to see a change in price. People, when I talk about business topics, people love shouting out, basic supply and demand. Well, actually, this is one of those situations where basic supply and demand actually does work. Because it really is as simple as PSA 10 Pikachu is PSA 10 Pikachu. And the more of them there are on the market, the lower the price is going to end up being. I mean, PSA have gone and put ironically, some PSAs out talking about exactly what's been going on, giving us some updates, and basically, well, let's go through some of the things they said. So in a December 2020 update, they talked about auction records being set during the pandemic, with Babe Ruth signed cards selling for a combined 1.4 million. And they talked about adjusting to the new normal, ramping up their growth initiatives, looking at staffing plans, space needs, operational efficiencies, and product priorities. Basically saying, look, we've done so well in terms of growing the business that it's just not working. And the other thing I need to mention, this isn't just a Pokemon thing. Sports cards have seen a gigantic boom lately as well, and the majority of submissions to PSA are still sports cards rather than Pokemon, which I do find kind of interesting. Now, in the March update, they talked about a pricing update, and they said that as much as these efforts have grown PSA's capacity, demand is still at an all-time high, i.e. they've expanded their operational footprint and they've acquired an additional 63,000 square feet of office space, and they've added 167 new employees in the 3 months between these updates, and they still are seeing just an all-time high demand. So they're reviewing the pricing page. What it basically means is it's getting a fair bit more expensive. I'm not going to dig into the prices in a huge amount of detail because it's quite a dry discussion and it depends on how many you're sending, how you're sending, etc. But the point is there have been fairly significant price increases. If you're sending in bulk and willing to wait, it's still going to be reasonable, but certainly, it's going to cost you a bit to send them out. And then we get our latest update in April 2021, where basically they said, since my last update and this 1 month between updates, the momentum behind the hobby is only accelerated. In fact, our Collectors Universe president and CEO Joe Orlando recently shared the reality of the surge of submissions to PSA. So let's head on over and see what they're talking about, shall we? Now, basically, they give some examples. No one saw this coming. Based on past performance, the CEO was very positive about the chances, but it would be disingenuous for anyone to say they believe prices for certain cards would go 10, 20-fold up in the midst of a pandemic. The market moves were fast, they were furious, as were the number of submissions that started hitting PSA. Within the last couple of years, they employed 350 people. Now it's 750. In October 2020, they doubled the size of their headquarters, and they're in the process of getting about 40% of extra space on top of what they've already got. But they said they were receiving more cards every 5 days than they usually were used to receive every 3 months. 500,000 cards a week being sent in to be graded. And this is your explanation, incidentally. This is why, if anyone's going, why are my cards taking so long through PSA? Why are the prices going up? This is why. And if anybody thinks the prices going up is unfair, I'm sorry, this is the reality of it. You see, what we've got is, we're not talking about scalping here. We're not talking about somebody deliberately ripping you off. We are talking about a service, card grading in this situation, with limited capacity. They are getting so many submissions that they, in a very literal sense of the word, cannot cope with the amount of submissions they're being given. They have got to do something in order to try and clear the backlog and to slow down submissions, and raising prices makes sense. What this essentially does is it lowers the amount of submissions so that they can actually get doing what they want. You could see it as a reward that they've been running their business well and now they get to charge higher prices. You can see it as a way to clear the backlog. Either way, you've got a company where submissions are growing and they literally cannot cope. The turnaround time has increased drastically. They had to raise prices. This is not a company taking advantage of you. The reality of business is when you've got a service this popular, you have to raise the price. There are other grading companies. We'll get there in a moment. So going back to the April update then, They have suspended their value, regular, and express service levels. They are hoping to bring all of the suspended services back by July the 1st, but obviously there is no guarantee that they're going to do so. Essentially, you can still submit to PSA, but you can only use the really expensive ways of doing so. And again, this isn't the company being terrible or taking advantage. This is the company going, we are literally getting too many submissions. If we look at the amount of people we have working and the amount of submissions we're getting and the amount of submissions we can get through in a given period of time, it's not working at the moment. This is not going as we need it to go. So where does that leave us as consumers? Well, obviously, it means that we need to pump the brakes. We're going to have to pump the brakes, I suppose, in terms of submitting cards, because it's just not out there. But also, I'm not saying never grade Pokemon cards. I am saying that when prices are rising, and when wait times are increasing, and when the market is being flooded with graded cards, there has never been a worse time to get your cards graded. I am saying that the sensible thing to do is wait a few months, a year, 2 years, however long it takes to calm down, and then go. That doesn't work for everybody. And if you are somebody that really wants to get your cards graded and flip them, do. You're doing it at the worst time. You're not going to get as good a price. Your profit overall is going to be lower. But if that's the position you're in, go for it. Why not? But if you can afford to wait, if you're somebody like me that's got a nice little collection of cool cards going and just wants to grade and display them, maybe wait a little while. Now, there are other grading services. Beckett is the general fallback here. Beckett tends to be a little bit harsher on the grading, and they've got those two 10s, the black label and the gold label. Gold label is a 10, black label is an everything 10, so maybe we can go that route. Why not? Beckett cards are still good. CGC is another company. Now, they've generally been comics in the past, but they have been clearly ramping up their Pokemon efforts over previous months. So certainly they would be an option. Although I've been reading comics for so long, seeing Pokemon cards in those slabs it's weird to me, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, and I don't know how much I like it. But I've heard good things about that particular company. Of course, the thing you've got to remember is, right, if PSA are raising their prices and suspending services and the wait time is getting huge, people are going to go to Beckett and CGC. And actually what's probably going to happen in the not too distant future is that Beckett and CGC are going to be seeing the same problems as PSA. And then you're going to be in the same boat there. Also, CGC graded cards do not sell for as much as PSA graded cards. And I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but it's the reality. PSA is generally what people are looking for. When you get all those clickbait eBay listings, they all say, PSA 10? No, it's not. If it's a PSA 10, grade it. Don't tell me it's a PSA 10 if it's not. Boo! Etc. It's like people who have a PSA 9 and they put PSA 9 possible regrade 10? No, it's a 9. It got graded at a 9. If you want to regrade it, regrade it. Don't tell me it's a possible regrade 10. You got it graded. It came out as a 9. Grow up. But they are options. CGC, not going to command quite as high a price, but it's an option. Beckett, harsher graders, probably going to run into the same kind of problems, but it's an option. There are some newer grading companies popping up, and if this sounds horrible, I'm sorry, but I pride myself on giving you guys the best information. If you want to use a new grading company, that is absolutely fine by me. You do what you want to do, ladies and gentlemen. And if all you really want to do is get your card slabbed, then that will work beautifully. But please remember, the entire point of selling a graded card is that you have had a reputable company who have graded it and said the condition and made it official. I am not saying that these new companies will not be reputable in time. And certainly if you fancy taking a little bit of a flyer, then get it graded by a new company and wait for that reputation to build. But by definition, a new company cannot be reputable because you need to build a reputation, and if you're new, you cannot possibly have done so. New companies, you are going to get cheap prices, you are going to get a quick turnaround, but you are going to end up with slabs that are a fraction of the value because they're from a company that, generally speaking, most people don't want slabs from. To put it simply, there is a reason why they are both cheaper and faster, and it's because most people just don't want to use them. But if you want to take a bit of a flyer, why not, ladies and gentlemen? Why not? So, to sum it all up, the reason why now is a terrible time to get your cards graded: long wait times, high prices, suspended services, and lower value because the market's being flooded. Your options are wait. You can use other companies, but like I've said, there are problems. Or you can take a flyer on these new companies that are popping up. But again, these are not without their risks. I can't give you a perfect answer, ladies and gentlemen. There is no perfect answer. Not unlike the problems with supply, time is your answer. Over time, these companies will expand, submission levels will drop, things will level out, and we'll go back to the way things were largely. But that ain't going to be in the next 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so they're your options. I leave it up to you. But now I want to know what you think. I want to know your opinions. I want to know everything you want to tell me. So go nuts in the comment section, and I do think I really need to stress it in this video. Please be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.